Well, let's move on from one minor disappointment to another minor disappointment. We had another London derby, Arsenal against West Ham at the London Stadium. We started off like a bat out of hell. Shum. And we just got complacent and we did a troops. Sparked up a. Anyway. If you know, you know. If you don't worry about it. That's how that means. But yeah, we kind of just got very relaxed and we were playing Bob Marley football. That's it. We were playing Bob Marley football when we should have really just gone in for the kill and done a John Wick. But unfortunately, we didn't do that. For you, Craig, how do you look back on that game?
I was watching a game at work or 2-0 up. I was at work eating lunch. My phone kept on was vibrated twice. 2-0 up. Yes. Yeah, we're gonna go on and win the game. Then before half time, then Partey got the ball. He tried to flip the ball onto Declan Rice's hand. Declan Rice pressed him so hard, bulldozed his way through, played a beautiful pass into Paqueta. Paqueta went through. Gabriel tried to get out the way. It was one of the softest penalties I've seen in my life. It didn't even clip. It was a little clip. It wasn't a massive clip. It was like his knee just caught like the side of his ankle. Not even a
50-50 one.
I'll quickly say this. Tom Daly would be so proud. So proud.
Brazilian on Brazilian. So he was very smart, got the penalty, 2-1. Yeah, they scored the penalty 2-1. The equalising goal, it was 2-1. Then second half, we had a chance to make it 3-1. But I'm not going to blame Bukayo Saka for missing a penalty because he scored every goal, every penalty he's taken for Arsenal this season he scored. I'm not going to blame him. We all can go through bad. We all miss a. Every top player has missed a penalty in their life. Ronaldo missed a penalty in the Champions League final. Cristiano Ronaldo. All the big players have missed penalties in their life, so it's not a big thing. The thing that I don't understand is he missed the goal, missed the penalty, then 5 minutes later, West Ham go to the other end and scored a goal. Ramsdale, would he have saved it? I don't want to blame him either because he's had a great season. He's made a lot of good saves. He saved us against Liverpool last week, so it'd be kind of harsh for us to blame Ramsdale. But one thing I have to say, the last 6 or 7 games, every game we conceded goals. We beat Leeds, we conceded a goal. We beat Crystal Palace, we conceded a goal. I think our lapse in concentration in defence is a problem now. It's been for the last couple of weeks. It seems like we're like a fast car. We go zoom, do what we need to do, get to the finish. When it comes to the finish line, it's like run out of petrol, run out of steam. And I feel like we need to be more ruthless and learn how to kill off teams like we did against Fulham. In the first half, 3-0 bang. Second half, we're just playing around, not like that, relaxing. We didn't do that against West Ham. We thought we were 2-0 up. We got gas. We thought, we're going to win the game. And then we didn't win the game. But I feel that, to be honest, it's been a great season. We're still top of the league. We got Southampton on Friday. We beat Southampton on Friday, 7 points clear. Going to Man City on Wednesday next week. As long as we avoid defeat, I still think we can go on and win the league. Or we can go to City, but we haven't beaten City for a while. Maybe we should go out there and try to beat City. City are thinking they're going to be invincible for the rest of the season, but this game, last time we played them, we didn't have Jesus up front. Jesus is going to want to prove a point against his former club. Shevchenko, if he's fit, is going to want to prove a point against his former club. Why did you sell me kind of thing? So looking forward to the game that on Friday. We have to cut out the mistakes. Hopefully Saliba's back in training now, so hopefully he'll be fit to play or come on to sub. And we just need to be more, just win all our games, we win the league. We can't drop any more points.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good summation of, I guess, your perspective on the game. I do want to start off talking about the manner in which we consider the goals. And like you said, it is a pattern. Actually, it's been a pattern throughout this whole season, the way that our intensity drops off. From pre-season through till now, our first 20 minutes in the game, we are electric. And that's been a consistent thing from the summer in pre-season, and it's carried through to the season, and that's been great. The problem, like you've said, is that lately, especially the last 7 games, but I think it's been going on longer, but since the World Cup ended and the league resumed, our defensive frailties are starting to be a bit more apparent. And I think it is concerning that we are going 2-0 up, or at least we're controlling a game, and then our intensity is dropping off. For you, Matthew, when you look at that kind of pattern, the last few games, going 2-0 up, and then sort of losing control in that we're not doing things at the same intensity. How do you feel about that?
It's like if that's the case, you're picking the wrong time of the year to do it. We've only got some teams have only got 7 or 8 games left, and you've already got your biggest rivals coming up. It's next week. Southampton, you're home away for that one?
Home.
You're home. Now, it looks dead and buried for them, but don't underestimate a team that's up for a fight. They could turn around somehow and, put one. I'm not saying they're going to win. I don't think they will, but you wouldn't be surprised if they put one on you if they're not careful. They're still kind of hanging on to that survival by a thread. But you're going to have harder games come up where it's these moments here, you look back at certain games thinking that goal shouldn't have been conceded, that goal shouldn't have been conceded, and that West Ham game is going to be pivotal because those 2 goals you could argue didn't need to happen if your defense just held strong for pretty much the entire game. When you're looking to do the unlike what no one thought was going to happen at the start of the season, where you're going up there and to lift that big old trophy after how many years, it pays to have that discipline for the last few games. Just stand firm, just work at it, just stay solid for the whole way, because it's looking more and more likely it's going to happen. There is no more purple patch. There is no more mess up. The possibility of Arsenal winning the league is very, very strong, and pretty much been on top of a thing since February or even longer than that. He's been on top of the table for most of the season, and normally what that says is that the team on top goes and wins. But you're 4 points ahead currently. What you don't want to do is to let that creep in very, very slowly towards the end, because you're going to have Man City. Who else have we got at the end? You've got
Newcastle, Chelsea,
Newcastle,
Brighton,
Wolves,
the last game of the season.
And Wolves the last game though. So those main games are forward. So those games, the Wolves, the Chelsea, and the Brighton and Newcastle, there's potential to slip up at any one of those teams. So if you got whatever Mikel's doing, get that defensive solidity back, because that's what Premier League teams willing to do. It's not just about scoring goals; it's stopping them from the other team.
Yeah, Thomas Partey needs to just kind of get it together, because he's been a bit sloppy last few games. I think Bukayo has also been off form as well, and maybe shouldn't start on Friday. But at the same time, he's going to be hungry to make up for that penalty miss. So I would put him on the bench, bring him on. I'd start Trossard or Reece, but or Smith Rowe.
That's another thing I want to ask. Why has Smith Rowe played a lot of matches recently? He hasn't come off the bench at all the last couple of games.
We remember when Martinelli, we went into, was it this season or last season? I think it's the back end of last season how he barely played games.
Yeah.
People were wondering what's going on, and I just hate the guy. It can be down to 2 things. Most likely it's fitness, but it could also just be that they're trying to train him to play in a position to a certain standard and a certain level of output. Martinelli last year, or at least the start of last season, was not the player that ended last season. And he's not the player that started this season, that's been flying this season. So I think with Smith Rowe, you've got to look at it that way. Arteta has worked wonders with wingers with his time at Man City. Look at how he refined Sterling and Sane's game, turning them into just output machines. Now, those are 2 players that had the raw attributes. And anyone who's watched Sterling when he was younger, he was always doing that. But it's just the consistency. And it's doing it, in the games that matter. And for Man City, he was clutch. Sane was clutch. So I wouldn't really be too worried about Smith Rowe in terms of getting minutes. I think what we need from him is when we do bring him in, he needs to deliver something. Because I don't think there's any fans that don't rate him, but we want to see him.
And the thing is as well, like on Sunday, I would have brought him on, Instead of Nketiah, I would have brought on Smith Rowe. You know why? Because he's got a good record against West Ham. I remember he scoring at the Emirates last season against West Ham. I feel like he's running at them in the last couple of minutes. And I think he made the substitutions too late on Sunday as well. He made them... I would have taken off Saka in the second half because he looked tired. I think he looks very tired. The last 2 games, he looked very, very tired. No, I don't think he's out of form. I think he's just tired. I think against Southampton, he said, I'll rest him. Play a Nelson or even play a Trossard and bring him on second half. Or rest him for Man City. Rest him completely for Man City.
No, I'd bring him on second half. If he don't start, I'd play him, yeah. because you want to get that rhythm. You want to get that miss out your system. You don't want to carry that miss to Man City.
Yeah.
And then it's just this extra pressure. If we get a penalty, who takes it, him or Jesus? You don't want that pressure.
Joking.
He'll take it.
I'm joking,
But
I'm
I think
joking.
also, on that note, I think the bigger issue for me is that West Ham equalised, I think around the 58th minute. We had so much time to get the winner and turn around. We just never looked like really threatening them. Like we just played safe passes. When Jorginho came on, we had a good amount of control, but there wasn't any of that
Penetrating
intensity.
runs. Yeah.
We weren't punching the balls into the front line.
Yeah, if you want intensity,
Trossard
don't.
was next to Odegaard at times. A lot of the time, he needed to be higher up the pitch. In fact, that was a game in Nketiah probably should have come on earlier.
That's what I'm saying. He made the subs too late. I thought he brought on Reece Nelson, not 90th minute or 89th, 80 something minute. He's not gonna make it. I know he did it against Bournemouth, but he needed more time on the pitch.
Yeah, we just
And it
didn't
wasn't
punch the ball
working.
through the
So
lines.
when Jorginho came on, you were already 2 ahead, weren't you?
No, well, 2-2.
No, it was 2-2.
That's the wrong time to bring it on. You bring him on when you'd bring him on before they try and start scoring, so he can control that midfield a little bit more and occasionally ping a really good pass when you're runners. So
When he came on, he helped reestablish the control that we'd lost, and we were actually keeping the ball. We were moving a lot better, but then it just wasn't enough forward line penetration. So we were cycling through them around the middle of the park. We were working it into wide areas, but in that we weren't punching it into the middle. We weren't punching it into the central area where they were still vulnerable, which we were showing in the first half. We weren't moving it fast enough. It was just too pedestrian. It was too predictable. It was too safe. And I think that's something that we need to be able to, as a team, develop the ability that in a game like this, where we have control, then we lose control, we need to regain control and just do what we're doing in the first half. Why is it like Holding was punching in passes into players, looking sharp and crisp and respectable to League One football? Lump it long, Sunday League style. Like, it's just not, like, what are we doing? Like, we know how we want to play. Keep it on the floor, give it into your players' feet. Why are we going long?
We don't have the physical striker. We don't have a Giroud up top to hold it up like that. So, and it was Jesus against the two defenders, and they're the bigger defenders than him. So, he's not gonna win the ball in the air
No,
all
I
the
don't
time.
agree with that.
What?
Jesus has shown us this season that he can hold the ball up against
No,
bigger,
what I mean, he can,
defenders.
but I mean, he's not got the Giroud physicality where he do flick-ons and all that
Doesn't need
stuff.
to do flick-ons.
What you mean, like a linchpin, like a focal point?
Doesn't need to do that. I think this season he's shown that when we've played the ball, I think you're forgetting how good he is with his back to goal and the stuff he was doing pre-injury. It's not so much that he can't do it now. It's just he hasn't done it as much in games, but he can hold the ball up. I don't think that's the issue. The issue was we took him off really early. Now that might have been a concern for his fitness or whatever, but he didn't look happy coming off. But I think the other issue is that when he did come off, we weren't playing the ball in the same areas. He was coming deep to receive the ball prior to coming off. He, like I said, Trossard was next to Odegaard a lot of the time in the second half when he came off. Jesus was next to him, and Jesus was getting the ball off the defenders. At one point, Jesus was playing right back.
Wow.
Back
wow.
in the first half. This was at 2-1. He was playing right back. And I think that was the problem. Like, when your centre forward has to come that deep to get the ball and to try and get things moving, the rest of the players aren't stepping up. And I think Odegaard he got his goal, but then he just didn't really rise it. Partey was having a jolly up. He was playing like a man who had a lot of on his mind.
I think
wasn't
Partey's
really impressed.
last two games, Partey has not been the dominant Partey that we know he can be. I don't know what's going on.
He's
with
just
it.
being complacent.
Since the
He's playing beach football.
But since the international break that we had recently, he has not been the same player since the international break. Because before the international break, he was solid. Now, the last 2 games, he's looking a bit... Remember against Liverpool, I said to you, I would have taken either him or Xhaka off.
Yeah.
Even Xhaka hadn't looked the same recently either, the last 2 games either. I think his level has dropped a little bit as well.
I think you also have to take into consideration as well that for the team, we have Rob Holding at the back. And I didn't really want to get into Rob, but I'm going to get into him. When you get out-muscled, as you said, Craig, at home, when you get out-muscled by Ben Rama in a 50-50 situation, we've got a problem here.
Damn.
Mikel Antonio, I don't mind. And he did brush him about a few times. That I can understand. My man, he won no aerial duels, no ground duels.
Ben Rama.
No, in the whole match.
Jesus.
No aerial duels won, no ground duels won. And at that point, you're handicapping the team. And it really does call into question what we do now especially with the Man City game. I think against Southampton, we could play him again. It won't be too much of an issue because we're at home. The crowd will carry the team through. But against Man City, if Saliba is 20% fit, 80% injection. If he's
100%.
70% fit, 30% injection. It's one of the situations where we might have to risk it. And I don't know if it's a sensible risk, or he does something really clever and left field and tries Tierney at right back, brings Ben White back in with Gabriel. So at least we have somewhat of a regular system. And to be fair, that might actually work, Tierney at right back, because then it will cut out Grealish's cutting in on his right foot. It will hamper us attacking wise because, you know, Tierney likes to get around the outside and he can overlap. But what's he going to do when he gets out there? He's going to have to check back on his left foot. So that might hamper us a bit, but it might surprise them. I don't see us playing Royal Waters. And all those fans saying that we should play Royal Waters, I'm sorry, it'll be his first senior appearance against the best team in England, because we're the best on, you know, we're top of the table, but Man City are still the best team in the country. You don't give a player that opportunity. It's just crazy.
It's not fair.